Snowstorm chances are increasing across areas of the southeast into the mid-Atlantic for this upcoming weekend, and this could also include areas of New England too. So we're here to go over all the new information that we have from the overnight to the morning model runs. We'll cover all those individual model runs first, and then we'll go over all these flashy snowfall graphics, and then we'll explain the setup itself and the energy associated with it, and we'll just kind of geek out with you guys a little bit in that part of the video. After that, we'll go over today's weather, and then we'll round the video off. So my name is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So we're going to go over the latest Euro first. This is actually the overnight Euro. The 06Z model run of the Euro is still running, but I will show it to you here in a second. But let's go over the overnight run. So we're going to start off all guidance with Friday morning. The blue is snow. The green is rain. You're not going to see much of the pink and the orange, which is a wintry mix with this type setup. I think it'll be either rain or snow. So we start off Friday morning, and as we start to move into Friday afternoon, I want to note there's already a little bit of snow breaking out across areas of the Appalachian Mountains, points east, points west a little bit, and this will be a cold snow too. And that's one thing I'll note right off the dot. Whoever sees snow with this setup this upcoming weekend, it is going to be a cold snow, especially if it snows to the south, which I'm starting to get pretty confident it is. This will be a bit of an unusual snow because it'll be snowing in such cold temperatures. So just want to throw that out there really quick, and I'll explain more of that here in a second. But as we move forward, we start to get into a Friday evening, then overnight Friday into Saturday morning. Now I want to note this is this Friday and a Saturday. We're not talking about 10 days out. I mean, this is right out ahead of us. Snow begins to break out across areas of the Carolinas, southern Virginia. And then we continue. This is Saturday morning, and we got a band of moderate snow in that dark blue breaking out across the Carolinas. And I mean, there's some snow flying around in other states too, but the heart of this system on this specific run of the Euro is right over the Carolinas. And it doesn't look like a huge event, but I want you guys to note again that even if it's light to moderate snow, it's going to accumulate very easy with how cold the air is and just how cold it is leading up to this event and how cold this event itself could potentially be. But it really starts to get going here in eastern North Carolina, southeast Virginia as a low pressure develops here, and it really cranks up. In fact, the low pressure kind of just bogs down, spins around a little bit, and continues to throw a lot of moisture back into eastern North Carolina, the Tidewater, the Delmarva area, and this, of course, is falling as very dry snow and heavy snow at that, maybe even a blizzard on this scenario. And then we start to get into Sunday morning, still snowing in areas of eastern North Carolina, and then it begins to head on out. And it clips Cape Cod, southeastern areas of New England. Now, I know it doesn't bring hardly any snow back to Atlanta. It doesn't really overspread much of South Carolina. Well, it does, but it doesn't get the heavier stuff. But wait till I show you other model runs. Now, you guys know I favor the Euro, but this is the OOZ run. We're about to show you the 06Z run. Let's see if this kind of brings some more heavier stuff back into the picture. But it seems like almost all other model guidance is much more aggressive than the Euro. So the Euro is a bit kind of on an island right now, a bit of an outlier. But let's show the GFS, which we know can be drunk half the time and not get it right. But it didn't do terrible with this last event, guys. It showed where sleet could be, and it sleeted. So what does the GFS show with us? Same thing, Friday morning. And I do want to note there's a little bit of winter weather breaking out further to the west, western Tennessee, back into Arkansas. This is Friday morning. If I said Saturday morning, my bad. But we get into Friday afternoon. It kind of shows something similar as what the Euro is showing. A little bit of snow breaking out across this region right here where Kentucky, West Virginia, and the Carolinas and Tennessee connect. And then it starts to get crazy pretty fast. We start to get overnight Friday into Saturday, and then this is Saturday morning. Snow starts to develop across northern sections of South Carolina, all across North Carolina, up into Virginia, and then it gets heavy, and then it turns into a whopper of a snowstorm that really just jackpots the Carolinas, surrounding states also, but it really just jackpots the Carolinas. Now, if you live kind of back in Alabama, Georgia, Atlanta, please don't comment. It's over. We're going to get whiffed again. We're not done figuring this one out, guys. But this certainly crushes the Carolinas with a lot of snow, and especially if we're confident on anything right now, it is eastern North Carolina. I mean, we are starting to get some massive runs in this area. I mean, feet of snow. And that's what the GFS does. It dumps literally 3 feet of snow in areas of eastern North Carolina. And this is getting into Sunday morning. This brings blizzard conditions across areas of the coastal mid-Atlantic region, the Delmarva, the Tidewater, and then it clips, just like the Euro, it clips southeastern sections of New England, and this heads on out. I mean, for example, this is when does it start? This is a Friday night deal, Saturday morning, I mean, getting into Sunday morning. I mean, this is like a 48-hour event across areas of the eastern North Carolina and Virginia. But I mean, it gets snow all the way down to Augusta, Columbia. Now, what about the Canadian model run? It kind of follows the GFS. Same thing, Friday morning, a little bit of snow in that area that both these other models I just showed you shows. And it shows more of some Gulf moisture building. So that's the thing. Can we dig this energy that I'm going to discuss when I nerd out with you guys here in a second? Can we dig it further west and pop off a low pressure in the Gulf? That would put more people in play with this. But watch how quickly this gets wild. This is Saturday morning. I mean, shows snow, like some snow streamers all the way back into Louisiana. And then all of a sudden, this just gets cranking. And once again, it just really pinpoints the Carolinas, but you got snow as far west as eastern Tennessee, back into Atlanta, all the way up into Virginia. And then this thing, once again, just absolutely crushes areas of North Carolina, up into Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and then it tries to ride up. And on the Canadian, it's a little bit further inland, brings a swath of snow all the way into New York City, certainly into Boston, Long Island. But man, look at that in the Carolinas. And I'm going to talk about it. This isn't a 30-degree snow. This is snow falling in, I mean, some very cold temperatures. Now, I will note the Canadian is showing a little bit of a wintry mix along the coastline. That's the deal here. The closer this low pressure gets to the coastal areas, the more snow gets thrown back to the west, probably the higher in potential it has. But then the coastal areas who are winter weather fans might have to deal with a bit of a warm nose. So what's the happy medium here? It just depends on where you live, right? So I do want to mention the UK Met model. We have to switch at the pivotal weather here, which I'm not a huge fan when it comes to breaking down winter weather on their site. Severe weather, it's a totally different deal. But when it comes to winter weather, I much rather use Weather Bell. But UK Met, which was something that really was, it kind of missed a couple times. Then it showed a hit yesterday, but it shows even more widespread hit here. This is Friday night, and then we get into Saturday. And it likes the idea of kind of what the GFS, the Canadian model, was showing. And it brings just some snow, accumulating snow as far southwest as Georgia. And it really just hits the Carolinas here. And then it eventually gets it up into Virginia later into the weekend. And it's a pretty big hit. Once again, clips areas of Cape Cod. Now, what about the GFS AI? This is consistently ticked further west. And remember, on these outputs here on Weather Bell, it only shows precipitation. So I'll have to kind of tell you if it's snow or not, and you'll have to take my word for it. But this is Friday evening. It shows that little bit of a kind of some moisture here in the form of some light snow, just like the other models is. And then it shows some Gulf interaction, some moisture down here. And watch what happens. The main coastal low misses. It develops way too far offshore. It is close enough to bring a little bit of snow across the coastal areas of the Carolinas, but the upper level low gets the job done here on the GFS AI. So it still delivers some snow, and then that upper level low sort of creates a coastal low, and we have some phasing. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, this low pressure is going to miss. And then boom, pops off a low pressure here. Combined, you get phasing just in time. And you see kind of this lighter to somewhat kind of lime green color. That is snow. Basically where it's showing over land. So you look at temperatures, right? That is all snow for everybody. And like I said, this just shows precipitation, but that's all snow. And if you look at the kind of, I think this is the 4-run trend of this. Watch how it's trended further west. See how it's trending further west with this? So, I mean, that's a good trend if you're a snow weather fan. And I live here in central South Carolina. This storm is absolutely personal to me. To keep it real with y'all, I am really pulling for this to work out. But it kind of does what the other model runs do, and it really cranks this up in the eastern sections of North Carolina. High end potential in eastern North Carolina, folks. I mean, I'm talking 1 to 2 feet. the potential is there for an absolute historic snowstorm. I'm not gonna say, dare I say, late January 2000, but this has Miller A big time snowstorm written all over it. If you can get the dots to connect where it throws back moisture over land, which pretty much all model ones we've showed you so far does. And this cranks up, and it does hit New England as a blizzard, pretty much. That's all snow. And then we look at the latest, this is the latest Euro AI model run. What does it show? Same thing, Friday evening, a lot of cold air in place. This could be some snow right here. Then we get into Saturday morning, and that is snow flying around the Carolinas. And then it really starts to crank up, and then we have snow now all the way back to almost Atlanta on this run with a stripe of moderate snow going through the Carolinas, and then this thing cranks up and once again hits the coastal areas, Hampton Roads, up here in northeast North Carolina. Listen, if you live in this area right here, guys, I'm going to say it probably 105 more times. This has high end potential for you guys. And then this cranks up and kind of clips areas of New England. But you look at the trend off this, I'm fascinated to see how AI guidance is going to handle this setup. If you look at the trend on this, there has been a trend towards further to the south and west with this, which of course would make areas further to the south happy. Okay, now what about the latest Euro? I haven't even looked at this yet, so this is going to be new news to me. It seems like that's been the common theme in these morning videos and the evening videos where we have to kind of wait for the 06Z Euro. So let's see if we have it. Let's just go on and get to the point here. Oh, we don't have it. No, we do. We're rolling here. Oh, no, we only have... that stinks, guys. No way. All right, so we're probably going to have to go back to this. You guys remind me. I'm just kidding. You guys can't remind me. You're viewing. It's not like it's live. But we only have out to about Thursday morning, so we're probably going to have to flip back to this. So just hang with me. I'll try to remember. I do want to mention this really quick. Here's a zoomed in image on the GFS for the Carolinas, and this is for Saturday evening. Okay, all out snowstorm, really just pinpointing the Carolinas and surrounding states. All right, remember I told you a couple minutes ago that this would be a cold snow. So we look at the temperatures in the same time frame, guys. It is snowing in the teens and low 20s. As far south as Columbia, South Carolina. This will be a cold, dry snow in my opinion. This is not going to be a snow from what it looks like, this is not going to be a snow where you can build a snowman out of. I don't know what's up with our winter weather lately here in the South, where when we do get winter weather, it is just ridiculously cold. We don't really have much of these marginal 30-degree snows that we're used to. This would be a very cold, dry snow. So great for sledding, great for slipping and sliding, dangerous road conditions. But it's not going to be great for snowball fights. It's not going to be great for building a snowman if it does snow. But who knows? Maybe that'll change. But this is the latest Euro ensemble. Now, don't get overly bummed out. For example, it only shows an inch of snow at my house. Not much into Charlotte. And remember, this is 10-to-1 ratio. This is the only thing we can look at with this ensemble guidance. This will be higher than a 10-to-1 ratio because of how cold it'll be snowing, how cold the temperatures will be while it's snowing. Okay? So I know, not very impressive, right? But I think that this is going to trend back the other way. I really do. But I will take a look at the Mid-Atlantic too and areas up into the southern New England region. And you can see there's a solid signal from the I-95 corridor points east with this. Multiple inches here. And then it really likes Cape Cod and just southeastern areas of New England. And there is a signal up here. Let's look at New England here. I don't want to completely leave out Maine here. But, just offshore is a pretty high snow signal. And then you look at the GFS ensemble, it actually increased. And we have a multi-inch mean all the way back to the South Carolina-Georgia line. It kind of stops right in Atlanta. Do not give up if you're in Atlanta. This could change fast for you guys. But, of course, it increases the further northeast you get through the Carolinas. And it really starts to highlight southeast Virginia, northeast North Carolina with over a half-a-foot snowfall mean. Not a forecast. This combines a bunch of members together and creates an average or mean. And remember, this is just a 10-to-1 ratio. It's going to be higher than that. And then just a closer look at the Mid-Atlantic with this also. I mean, like I said, I-95 corridor points east shows a very high-end signal with this, over a foot signal in southern areas of New England. And it looks like the footprint is just offshore, at least the big footprint from Maine. And, just looking at some AI ensemble guidance, and I wonder if we have, let's see if we have the 06Z run here. We do. So this is the 06Z run. Let's compare this up against that. Yeah, so it increased. See how there was an increase there? And it makes sense because the Euro AI increased the southwest. So remember, this is just 10-to-1 ratio, but I mean, it has a snow signal all the way back to Georgia, into Georgia, eastern sections of Tennessee, but it really highlights this area right into here. And then once again, we will look at the mid-Atlantic, and it's a little bit further offshore on the Euro AI ensemble guidance here. But you look at the latest, the Euro that we have. The 06Z is still running, so I'm not sure what it's going to show. But even the Euro that sort of gets everything going a little bit later still absolutely crushes eastern sections of North Carolina and southeast Virginia with, a foot with 1 to 2 feet of snow. I mean, gives Raleigh about a foot of snow. It doesn't bring as much snow into, say, South Carolina and Georgia or western areas of North Carolina. And then there's a sharp cutoff up here to the north. And it doesn't really show a whole lot. I will show it to you, though, up the east coastline. And I knew it was going to do that. It went back to the OOZ here. But, yeah, that's too much. Right here. It does clip. In fact, let's just look at New England here. It does clip areas of Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket on the OOZ Euro with an 8 to 12 inch snowstorm, but the snowfall footprint is just offshore on this run. Now you look at the GFS, and I'll just take a closer look at the Carolinas here. And look at this run. This is just a wild run by the 06Z GFS. This drops over 3 feet of snow over this area of North Carolina. Drops 8 to 9 inches on my house. 10 inches on Charlotte's. The mountains get hit hard with this, and I mean, Georgia is very close on this run to get multiple inches of snow. And then it goes up to the Hampton Roads area, the Delmarva, and hits you guys pretty hard too. And then just like with the Euro, getting a little sidetracked here, with the Euro, it clips southeastern areas of New England, but keeps it offshore for New York City and most of Long Island and Maine. And then you look at the Canadian model here. It's another huge hit for the Carolinas. Don't get too hung up on what you're seeing here. This isn't Mitch saying there's going to be 9.9 inches of snow in Columbia. It's not what I'm doing. I'm just showing you model guidance. And I want you to focus on really the footprint of snow. When I say footprint of snow, I'm really meaning, where does it show accumulating snow at? That's what we really look at here. Don't get too glued up on the totals. Of course, it's hard not to when it drops 40 inches of snow on Richmond, Virginia, right? But it's really, you just look at the footprint. Where's the axis of snow? On the Canadian, it's a little bit pushed further inland on this, okay? So, on the Euro AI, it was a better run further southwest in the Georgia. So remember, the Euro AI on this output only shows 10-to-1 ratio. This will be higher, so you can probably almost multiply this by 1.5 or 2, maybe even more in some of these areas. But it's a big hit for northeastern areas of North Carolina, southeast areas of Virginia, and it's a nice snowstorm for just about all of the Carolinas into areas of eastern Georgia and eastern sections of Tennessee, and a little bit of snow into West Virginia. And then you look at the bigger picture with this, and it basically, for the mid-Atlantic into the northeast, especially upper mid-Atlantic, coastline east of 95, it kind of just, most model guidance is just sort of in agreement right now. But if this axis of snow shifts even 100 miles, I mean, that's gonna make a huge difference here. And then you look at the blend of all model guidance, which continues to increase. But one thing that I've noticed, if you look at the multi-run trend of this, is it's really pushing this kind of south and west. So you can see how it's increasing into South Carolina. It's kind of cutting off pretty quick here, but this blends all model guidance together. I think the National Weather Service puts a lot of weight into this, so this is a pretty strong signal here. Now, I'm going to try to flip it back to the Euro run and see if we have the whole entire, gosh, we still don't. Man, what are you doing, Euro? You're going too slow, man. You're killing us. We're trying to figure out what you're going to do, what you're going to send us. So I think the Euro is just running a little bit behind. I think we're having some, let's see if we can look at pivotal weather here. Sometimes pivotal weather is faster. I'm just trying to get you all the good data here. Nope, it's not. It's only 54 hours out. So that's a bummer. What you doing, man? But let's explain the setup, and it's not my fault, guys. I think the Euro is just behind right now, and that happens sometimes. But let's explain the setup, and then I'll try to remember to go back to it. So one thing that is a lock, that is cold air. I know you're like, Mitch, whoa, you don't want to say that too soon. Guys, it's cold. This is the Euro ensemble between Thursday morning and next Tuesday morning, February the 3rd. And I mean, you see the colder colors you see here. This is anywhere between 10 to as much as 30 degrees below average. And for late January, early February standards, that is very cold. So you got the cold air in place. Why do you have the cold air in place? If you look at the upper pattern here, the 500 millibar pattern, the blue you see, that is a trough, okay? Lower pressure, lower heights. And then the warmer colors you see here, like in the orange and yellow and stuff like that, that's higher heights, that's ridging. So that's a block. So what's going on here is you have a solid blocking mechanism. Make sure this is going to work right into here. This is helping to dislodge cold air into this dip in the jet right here. So we basically have a nice negative NAO, negative AO, and that is causing a buckle in our jet stream right here. And in that buckle, we got a lot of cold air dropping down, and we have energy coming down from Canada. So cold air and energy. So of course our storm track is going to do something like this. It's going to follow the jet that's being buckled south by the blocking up here in the higher latitudes. We got a strong spiking ridge out west, what we call a positive PNA. This allows energy to sort of kind of ride on down here. Now, if we position this ridge maybe a little bit further to the west, then we could probably ride that energy down a little bit further to the west. And speaking of the energy, I want to show you what something like the GFS does, which is a kind of a boom across areas of the Carolinas, right? So we'll start off Friday morning. This is energy right here. Circle it. This is energy associated with the trough, reinforcing trough dropping down. So northern stream energy, you can call it Canadian energy, whatever you want to call it, a vortice. There's all kinds of geeky terms you can call it. And then we kind of have energy scooting out below it that I think will miss the initial phase. And then we have southern stream energy right here that just kind of continues to just be there, okay? And you can already see the ridging right here. You can see how these lines buckle north and then they kind of crash to the south, and the energy sort of following that and diving down. So we put all this in motion, and you can see here it comes. The northern stream energy itself is pretty much the dominant force here. But if you can see all these slashes of color right here, watch how they're kind of there right when the northern stream energy digs in, and it taps into some of this southern stream energy. And when that happens, this thing begins to tilt, and then it fully begins to curl like you're seeing right here. And when it begins to curl, guys, it pops off a strong surface low. So right here, it's kind of positively tilted, neutrally tilted, negatively tilted, big low pressure that pops off in response. And then you get this. Here it comes. Boom. You see how that area gets really blue? That's lower pressure. And then you get on the GFS, you know, a deepening, a rapidly almost bombing out. Then the potential is there for that. Low pressure, and therefore you get a stronger low pressure. It makes more intense moisture, and if that's close enough to land, that's going to fall in the form of an epic, maybe historic snowstorm. And when you have a 10, 40-ish high pressure back here, throwing in tons of cold air into this low pressure, you're just asking for a major snowstorm from the southeast, maybe even up the northeast coastline. So you can see what happens here. You know, in response, this digs down, and response pops off a low pressure. Now, what happens on the icon, which I didn't show you earlier, that makes this whiff? So same thing on the icon, energy comes down, but if you stop it right here, it's phasing with some energy. It's doing the same thing as what the GFS is doing, okay? But let's look at the difference here. Like this is This is the energy. Well, let's make sure we're on the right page here. Yeah. So this is the energy on the GFS. It looks like it's starting to wrap a little bit more. And then this is the energy on the icon. It looks just kind of strung out, flatter. There's kind of, you're not getting that like curl to it where it's starting to really take on that tilt. It's starting to bend, but this looks like it's about to get its act together better. It's probably not the best example of it because you probably can't see that much of a difference. But one of the big differences is the energy itself is just further to the east. On the GFS, it's still back to the west, which gives it a little bit more time to really dig, curl, and then really take on that negative tilt closer to land. Therefore, the icon shows this scenario, and the storm is still going, granted, here on this, but it shows a low pressure, which is pretty close to the coastline, but I think it shows the fail mode with this for us inland. I really think the fail mode with this, I'm starting to think, is still coastal, East Coast, even Carolina East Coast snowfall. I mean, it shows snow almost all the way down to northeast Florida on this run. Now, the big boom scenario is if this energy does its thing, everything I just showed you, back further to the west. For example, I look at this. What if this happens? What if this happens right here? What if this digs a little bit more right here further to the west, like way back over here? Therefore, this can pop off, maybe even develop a low pressure right into here, and then kind of crawl into this area. And then that throws, Alabama, Georgia, maybe Mississippi, certainly the Carolinas into the mix. And then it would probably crawl up the coastline due to proper blocking up here, potentially, and just create a more widespread snowstorm scenario. So I hope that makes sense. But listen, all this jabber jawing is backed up by the Weather Prediction Center, the National Weather Service. They are honking their horn. This is the updated graphic from the Winter Weather Outlook, and they've increased chances at accumulating winter weather is what I like to call it. I mean, there's even like a little small area right here, and like north of Hampton Roads that has a 50 to 70% chance and a probability of snow and sleet exceeding a quarter-inch liquid equivalent. What we basically say there is there's a 50 to 70% chance of accumulating winter weather. But this entire dark green area, that is a 30 to 50% chance. And then all the way down to Augusta, Charleston, we have right now a 10 to 30% chance. I think confidence will increase if model guidance continues to go crazy. And this gets up into the northeast too. And listen, they even dropped a graphic about 4 a.m. this morning. You already know I was up that early. And they continue to mention it. If you need to pause the screen, if my face is in the way, I apologize. Just check me out on Twitter. I reposted it. But it talks about this, that this is not something that we're just hyping up. I mean, I'm excited to talk about, I'll be honest. But this has real deal potential. It's right here in front of us. It's not like it's 10 days away. So that's enough with that. Let's talk about today's weather. And listen, there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, there's a lot of cold air across the country. We got snow across Montana, lake effect snow across the Great Lakes region, getting into western areas of the Northeast. Outside of that, guys, it's a quiet, bitterly cold morning. Just brutally cold for a lot of areas. I mean, it's even 17 degrees for my neck of the woods here in central South Carolina, which, guys, some winters, we go the entire winter without getting into the teens. I mean, that's how it is down here, so. We've had it happen a couple times now this winter. But this is today's weather, just lake effect streamers off all the Great Lakes up there. And outside of that, I mean, it is quiet, dominated by cold, high pressure. And this is the western U.S. Not a whole lot to speak on. We do have a system that will move into the western states, the western coastline, in the form of some rain, higher elevation snow. Man, you guys have just had no winter out here so far. I mean, nothing. It's just been a central and eastern U.S. thing. But the temperatures, the high temperatures today, very cold, locked in below freezing. And I don't think a lot of these areas will get above freezing until February. I mean, it's pretty wild to think about. And then this is the western U.S., warmer. And what I'm going to try to do here, and I'm sure a lot of people have tuned out by now, but I'm going to try to look at what the latest Euro shows to try to catch this. And the Euro is just running behind. I don't know what's going on with the Euro, so we're not going to be able to show it to you. That stinks. But we'll just save it right here, and let's do a quick Bible devotion here, and we'll talk for a minute. This morning we're in Colossians chapter 3, verse 2. So chapter 3, verse 2, it says, set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. So not a very long one. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. So I said, set the standard that God comes first. All right, let me put this down. Set the standard. God comes first. I mean, that's the quick and to the point. I mean, that is the standard. God comes first. Everything else comes after. And remember, He comes first in everything you do, every thought, every action. It's not just He comes first at the beginning of the day. He comes first in everything you do. Okay, constantly pursue Christ, trust Him, rely on His strength, and follow His will. When doing this, you won't be consumed by worldly things. This doesn't mean ignore your responsibilities on earth. This means to approach them with a Christ-like standard. Don't be consumed by them. Don't let worldly emotions consume you. Constantly pray for God's will in your life, even if that takes you somewhere you don't want to go. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And listen, I know I say this all the time. I'm speaking a lot to myself right now with that. In fact, I specifically seeked out that Bible verse for myself because I'm right now in a state in life where I'm very consumed by the weather. And sometimes, admittedly, because I'm always going to keep it real with you guys, sometimes, it's like in my quiet time when I'm trying to read, trying to talk to God, my mind is just like consumed by worldly things. At the end of the day, talking weather is a worldly thing. I mean, I can use it to obviously glorify God, but sometimes it's very consuming, and I have to be careful, and I have to acknowledge that and fix that, right? Spiritual awareness. But sometimes when I'm in my quiet time, it's like, oh man, I just want to look at my phone. I just want to look at what the model is doing right now, but I need to hyper focus. So what I've been trying to do lately is just get up. Don't look at my phone initially. Don't get, and this is what I'm talking about here. Don't get consumed by worldly things right off the dot. Just immediately get up, have yourself some quiet time, start the day with the Lord, and start everything that you do, every action, thought, word you do with the Lord. And I feel that every single day, guys. I mean, we're sinners, so we just got to continue to encourage each other to be better, encourage ourselves, and don't let the enemy slip in. So, anything else? No, I think that's it. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. We'll do it again tonight, and we'll continue to try to figure this one out. We'll try to reel in a snowstorm for areas that have not really seen anything this year and that are winter weather fans. So, have a good day, guys.